Good morning and welcome to the friends and supporters of Mar Elias Educational Institution and Pilgrims of Ibelline. My name is Peter Henry, and I have the privilege this year, for the third year in a row, of being the president of the board of directors for Pilgrims of Ibelline. And I'm joined with a bevy of panelists, including our moderator, Reverend Dr. James Thomas, also a member of our board. And it's our privilege today to welcome you to this webinar and to provide an opportunity for you who are friends and supporters of Mar Elias to hear more about their current challenges and their ongoing successes, and to know more about the life of that institution as they seek to foster peace and justice in Israel and Palestine. Just to let you know how our morning is going to go, and a little bit of a truth in advertising, we'll probably go a little bit beyond the noon hour. As always, trying to fit a lot of people and a lot of things into a set period of time can be a little difficult. So please stick with us a little bit beyond the noon hour. And if you need an enticement to do so, we do have a pre-recorded video from Father Elias Shakur, which will be at the end of our time together. And so you definitely want to stay to hear from Abuna. But the plan is that I'm going to inform you a little bit about some of our ongoing work as Pilgrims of Ibelline, and then I'm going to hand the baton to Emil Haloun, who is an English teacher at the school. And after he has a chance to present, our Dr. James Thomas is going to moderate questions that you submit through the chat feature. Hopefully some of you are familiar with the chat feature of Zoom and can submit those questions to James so that Emil and the head of the upper school, Elias A.G., and some of our students can answer your questions. And then after that time of moderated questions, we'll have that message from Abuna, and we'll kind of wrap things up a little after the noon hour. Again, welcome. If you are just joining us, my name is Peter Henry. I'm the president of the board of Pilgrims of Ibelline. We are an organization that is now 25 years old, started in 1995 in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, born out of a friendship between Abuna and the Reverend Dr. Bruce Rigdon, who was pastor of Grosse Pointe Memorial Church. And in 25 years, based on my back of the envelope calculations, Pilgrims has been away for somewhere close to $5 million to flow from the hearts and hands and wallets of Americans and others and into the institution we know as Mar Elias, where we have been seeking with one of our taglines to build peace on desktops. And we do that through raising friends and funds for that institution. I think we've probably touched the lives of as many as 10,000 students during those 25 years. And that ministry of fostering peace and justice continues to this day. We have a quick slideshow for you so you can see some of the projects that Pilgrims has funded in the past, as well as some of the current work. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen with you so that we can show you some of that work. So let me, hold on a second, everybody. Go to, here we go, slideshow from the beginning. All right, I need to reshare. So I have one small problem. I'm not as good a facilitator as others with Zoom. You just have to put up with my notes a little bit because I can't get this thing at the top to move away. So, can you all see the map on your screen? Emil, can you wave if you can see the map? All right.
I can see it.
Your screen is of the Mar Elias Educational Institution campus map. And on that map, you'll notice the buildings in the dark colors. And right here in front of you, where my cursor is moving, is the middle school, which is the original high school, one of the first of the buildings built on the campus. And then beyond that is a high school over here where my cursor is. That is a high school that was built primarily with funds from a capital campaign that Pilgrims of Ibelline did. And then over here where my cursor is now moving is the chapel of the Sermon on the Mount. There was an auditorium present there, but Pilgrims of Ibelline, through its capital campaign, raised the funds to be able to build the chapel on that site. And so there are a variety of ways in which we have helped with the building of some of those buildings on the campus. Here is a picture of that chapel of the Sermon on the Mount, some of the iconography that Pilgrims has helped to support the creation of and the installation of in the chapel. You'll find here the elementary school. For those of you who've been on a pilgrimage to Ibeline, you probably stayed in the top floor of that elementary school. It is our current guest house with 12 rooms completed with built-in bathrooms, an additional 3 rooms beyond the bathrooms. We'll say a little bit more about one of our ongoing projects with that guest house. But we're so pleased that as I scroll through the next few pictures that you can see some of the rooms and some of the resources that Pilgrims has supplied to MEI through the years. In our science labs, perhaps right here in some of these pictures are some of the future scientists of the Middle East who might be a part of finding vaccines and helping us through future pandemics. In addition to the science laboratories, Pilgrims has been able to support the purchase and installation of a variety of computers, including headphones, up-to-date headphones. You know, this is the first year, as I understand it, that the English exams for the Bagruts are going to be offered remotely. And through the work of Pilgrims and the incredible staff at Mar Elias, these computers have been installed and have been places where students, with the help of one of their computer techs, have been able to practice taking that English exam before having to take it on the computer remotely for the first time in the history of those English exams. So we're thankful for the ability to have facilitated that preparation for those English exams. You can see here our own Jane Settle, who is helping, and Ted Settle, helping the students to prepare for those exams. I mentioned that guest house. It is one of the primary ways that guests come to Mar Elias, one of the ways that people learn firsthand about the work of the school. And over the last year, we've been able to purchase new stoves, as well as new washers and dryers to facilitate those guests coming in and out of the Mar Elias campus. You'll see here as well a picture now of the Learning Center that was in a section of the campus that was rather underutilized and unused up until recently, but the top 3 floors of this bridge building were renovated to create a learning center where now students can stay after school hours to continue to further their education. It's a way of making sure that the ministry and work of the campus goes beyond just the school hours. And you'll see there that in the Learning Center, you see in the Learning Center, that we have been able to, again, have a variety of computer installations. And then beyond the Learning Center, most recently this year, Pilgrims has been away for a particular bequest from a woman named Jean Hobson to work its way to Mar Elias to begin renovations on the middle school, renovations that began with the teacher's lounge, to recognize that the morale of the staff is incredibly important. So we've upgraded that teacher's lounge. And now, right now, Mar Elias is in the process of doing further renovations to the original high school building. And that includes, there's some of the students getting ready for school. But that work includes exterior painting and exterior stonework, as well as repainting interior hallways, installing water fountains, and upgrading some of the computer resources of the middle school. That work is already begun by the staff and the faculty of MEEI, employing outside contractors. And right now, the board of directors of Pilgrims of Ibeline is working its way into being able to provide those bequest funds to pay for this work on the original high school building, now the middle school. So that's a little bit about some of the work that Pilgrims has been facilitating. One piece of work that we may be a part of in the coming future is the old guest house. Right now has part of the space that isn't being used, but has potential for being a place for visiting scholars, as well as continued use as a guest house if we can upgrade it. So perhaps the potential use of some Pilgrims money in the years to come. But as I said, we are grateful as a board that we are able to find funds and friends from America and beyond to facilitate the teaching ministry of the Mar Elias Educational Institution. But the teaching ministry, we're just facilitating. It's carried out by people like Emil Haloum, who is an English teacher, who has led trips of students to the United States, who has welcomed some of the pilgrims from America to Ibeline to help be a go-between between our board and the Amata, the school board. Emil drives 40 minutes one way to get to school. He's one of a host of teachers who sometimes make commutes of up to an hour and a half to 2 hours during the day in order to help foster peace and justice through the educational ministries of Mar Elias. So with that said, I want to introduce Emil. I've introduced Emil. I want to turn it over to him to welcome students, to talk to you a little bit about the ongoing work of MEI by the people who are doing that work on the ground. And I'm going to stop my share. And Emil, it is off to you.
Thank you, Peter. I'm truly humbled to be part of this unique project, which is taking place in the center of Galilee, especially in these uneasy times, unstable times, not only the Middle East, but the entire world is going through. And I'm also grateful to all those American folks who took part and shared their goodness with us, with the people of Galilee in the Holy Land, because as I see it, their donations have been through the past years very of higher importance to the process of higher education and education in general in this land. I do believe that my people, the people of Galilee, the people of Palestine, Israel, are well deserved to gain and acquire education. But as you know, and as everyone listening to me knows, the past and current circumstances have not been easy in this land, and these have accumulated in the past decades, causing unpleasant and unfavored consequences. The social reality here is different than that existing in the West. And when taking into consideration not only the social, but also the political circumstances and context as well, we get this product, which is the problematic reality of the Middle East. But out of that, we're trying our best, and thanks to our friends in the States and elsewhere, Abuna Elias Shakur has built on this Mount of Augur, the nice campus of Mar Elias, and on a daily basis, I do see wonderful students coming from more than 40 towns and villages across Galilee to acquire education in Ibilin. And I'm very happy that today I have two dear colleagues of mine, Maisa and Luma, and their case is similar to mine because they also have been commuting for the last 18 years, working at Mar Elias. And we have also Elias A.G., who is the principal of the high school. And he also is a graduate of Mar Elias because he studied there, and he was one among the first students studying at that school, graduating from the school. I'm also privileged to have two students with us today, Asil and Eva, who are seniors. Asil lives in Akko. It's also 40 minutes away from Ibilin. So her parents decided to send her to Mar Elias, and then she does commute as we do. And Eva, who is the luckiest among us, she does not commute because she lives next to school, and they will be sharing their experience of the everydayness of Mar Elias with us today. But I would like also to be brief and share with you that even though we are officially on vacation, but in practice, de facto, we are not, because the matriculation exams are taking place nowadays because of COVID-19. Everything has been postponed. And like this time of the year, last year we were on actual vacation, but this year we're not, because of not only because of the exams, but also because of the good things happening on campus. As you mentioned, Peter, the renovation of the middle school, the junior high school, which is a very old building, and it's certainly about time to renovate that building, that facility, in order to create a nice ambient, a nice atmosphere for both faculty and students to come and study at that facility. And as you mentioned, we have future projects such as the old guest house, but much is going on. As you have showed, the Learning Center, the activities there and courses are going on still until this day. There are also the gym, which is not working nowadays because of COVID, but it's also has become an integral part of our campus. And in the past year, we have been thriving, and we do see the campus alive also after school hours. And this is the most important thing, because it is needed to create a place for not only for the students of MEEI Elias, but also for the community of Galilee to resort to in the afternoon hours, because those people who come to our campus are those who do not have friends elsewhere. And as I said, this is part of the reality here. I'm glad that Pilgrims has been of a great help to assist those who are really in need. I'm talking about those females who were deprived of education. I'm talking about those who can't afford paying tuitions, and Pilgrims has provided them with generous scholarships. I'm also grateful for all the gifts which went to those students who in 2015 traveled with me to the States. And there we spoke at various avenues and churches and campuses. And I do hope that this cooperation between us and between you and your part of the world will thrive, continue, and grow as the years come. So this is the general broad picture which I wanted to share the viewers and listeners of this webinar. I'd like also to, at this point, to introduce Luma. Luma is a dear colleague of mine. She has been teaching English for the last 18 years at MEEI Elias. She also commutes. And I decided to invite her today together with Elias on the board of Pilgrims, not because of her seniority at school, but because of her vast contribution. She is a role model for many students, and I'm not exaggerating because I do see it in my daily presence at school. So I'd be happy if Luma would share something from her everydayness at MEEI Elias. And Peter, let me know, just make me aware of the time frame that we have. Yes, Luma.
Hello, everyone. Yes, Emil, do you want me to say anything?
Yeah, please share with the viewers and listeners of this webinar something of what we are experiencing nowadays and in the past years of MEEI Elias.
I'd like to begin saying that it's my privilege to be part of this event. I believe that the last few months, especially talking about March and April, and then May, this is the shutdown of the school, that we weren't able to attend school physically. I think it's been a formidable challenge for me, because it wasn't easy to teach remotely from home. It was a challenge because I think the integration of technology into education was a great challenge. That's, for one thing. Maybe we can discuss this more, profoundly about the whole distance teaching issue. I can say in a few words that MEEI Elias High School is my second home. I do have a wonderful family. I do have 3 daughters, of course, and but then MEEI Elias is my second home. I've been teaching there for 17 years, since 2004. And every day is merely another great day, another new experience. Teaching students, wonderful students who come from different villages, is a great opportunity for me as an educator. And what COVID-19 has taught me one of the things that I've learned is that Mar Elias High School isn't just a building. It's the connection between students. I have come to learn how important these connections are, and nothing can replace teachers. Teachers at Mar Elias High School are irreplaceable, and that what I've been, this is one of the most important things I have learned through the last few months. This connection with students coming to school physically and to our school, to Mar Elias High School, not just any school, is something wonderful. And I'm still looking forward to more years to come. And that's it for now.
Thank you, Luma. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now it is here. I'd like to introduce Maisa. Is Maisa with us? I don't see her name.
Yes, I'm here, Emil. I'm here.
Very good. Maisa, I'm happy to have you. So Maisa has done a long journey at Mar Elias, and she's currently the English coordinator at the high school. And when I say that she is the English coordinator, I do mean in practice that she is responsible for hundreds of students studying there, especially over the English curriculum, which is very challenging, I must say, as an English teacher. To expand on this, we will use a different occasion, but I'd like Maisa also to share and brief her experience, especially in the past months, in the light of COVID and your general experience as well.
Okay, first of all, allow me to thank you for this opportunity to talk to you, and to thank you all for your generous donations throughout the years. We couldn't do without them. I've been teaching at Mar Elias for the past 18 years. And as Luma said before, every day is a new adventure. Our students are amazing. Our staff our English staff in particular is absolutely wonderful. What we enjoy most at Mar Elias is a sense of family. I feel that when I go to Mar Elias, I'm going to my second home. We treat each other as a family. And what COVID-19 taught us is that we need to be there at school together, because distance teaching was very difficult in terms of, first of all, many students did not have computers. Many students did not have the devices needed. So many of our teachers contacted them one-to-one, which is absolutely amazing. We had tens of Zoom conferences throughout these couple of months. We had to keep in touch with the students, with each other. It was very difficult. But everyone was ready, everyone was willing to help. And I think we went through the period very well. If there are any questions, of course, I'm willing to answer anything you have to say.
Thank you, Maisa. And now we will switch to the students, to the senior students who have been told by Maisa, Luma, and myself. I'll begin with Asil. Asil is a senior student, and she is spending her very last day at Mar Elias. 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, Asil joined me. She was part of a delegation to Northern Ireland, and there we spent 2 weeks where my students studied English, yes, the Irish accent, as well as they exposed themselves to the ongoing conflict and the resolution in Northern Ireland. That gave specifically my students a very hopeful perspective on the future in this land that we live in. So Asil, please introduce yourself and say something about your experience as a student at Mar Elias, please.
Hello, my name is Asil. I live in Echo, a city an hour away from the school. I would like to share with you my personal experience with the school. At first, I didn't study in this school. I started elementary school in a different school in a village. but that school wasn't very good, and the teachers were they mistreated the students. So my mom took it upon herself to move me to this school because she heard that the school is the best in the area, and she thought I would flourish in this school. When my first year there was something that resembles a culture shock. Everything was different. The teachers were better and nicer, and they were more demanding. The materials they taught us were of a higher standard than what I was used to. But most of all, the thing that was very different was the students. There were many students from every city and village imaginable in the area. Um, Students from different religions, different cultures, and different backgrounds. And this exposure of diversity is very important for a person to develop, and just very important in general. So ever since I moved to the school, I've been very happy, and I saw myself develop in ways I couldn't have developed in any other school.
Thank you, Asil. Thank you. I just want to say, want to go back to Maisa and say that the school where Maisa lives, in the village she lives in, is just next door. And instead, she decides to come to teach in Ibeline, and that's why she commutes. That's why she spends more than an hour driving each way. So back and forth, it takes her at least 2 hours and a half. So we are, of course, all grateful, Maisa, for this effort you do.
It's worth it, Emil. It's worth it, believe me. And yeah, even though I spend 2 hours and 15 minutes a day on the road, it's worth it.
And I agree, because the sense of family we live at Mar Elias is really unique. And that's, I felt, especially in the COVID, because that frame was really missing. I felt that there's a missing link in my life, and that is I believe this could be shared by staff and students alike, that that place means so much to us and to our life, especially here in this land. Thank you, Maisa. So I'll move to Eva. Eva is a senior student as well, and she lives in Ibeline. Eva, are you there? I can't see you.
Yeah.
Yes, Eva, go on.
Hello, my name is Eva Habib. I live like really next to school. It's a 5 minutes walk. My major is physics chemistry, and I just would like to welcome you all. It's an honor to be here and talk to you. Well, my journey in Mar Elias started from kindergarten. My father learned there, my grandmother, my grandfather, so it's like a legacy. Mar Elias has helped me in so many different ways. I'm so grateful for my journey. It has been wonderful and very, very amazing. It taught me how to be a better listener, so I can learn more from my surroundings. And it is very crucial in Mar Elias because it's a mixture of cultures, so many different cultures. So every day I'm surrounded and I'm inspired by the people in my circle, in my school. Mar Elias is a fascinating educational environment, and I really enjoyed my journey in my school. And it has helped me to develop so many skills, social skills, leadership skills. I'm inspired by its students, by its teachers, by the principal, by everything.
Thank you, Eva. Eva, what are your plans for next year? Are you going to study at the university?
Well, my plans, I'm taking gap year.
Mm-hmm.
So I can learn, I can travel, I hope. Yeah, learn more about myself.
Very good, hopefully. And Asil, may I ask about the plans for next year?
I plan to study in the USA, so I'm thinking of taking the SAT in the next year, in October actually, and just write my resumes and recommendations from school and teachers.
What is your goal? Which institution would you like to study at?
I plan to study in an Ivy League university or at MIT. I'm really interested in computer science, and I'm hoping to pursue that subject.
Very good, very good. And in addition to Asil, and hopefully she will get accepted, we have many really amazing ambassadors all over the world who studied at Mar Elias, and I mean it literally. We are also privileged to have the guy who never had the day off lately, and he's our principal, Elias AG. And really, Elias worked hard because in one day, the reality has significantly changed. Everything switched into online learning and teaching. And he has been responsible over that vast system. Elias, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Well, hello all. I'm using your name, Emil, because you sent me the link, so it appears not Elias AG. I'm Elias AG, the director of the high school, but let me first start by saying thank you, people, for making this event take place, and thanks Peter and Laurie and Pilgrims of Ibelin and the board for all the support that you've been doing for the Mar Elias High School. I want to just share with you a short story about how all this started. In 1981, I was like 13 years old, and I used to go to church every Sunday morning. So I meet with Father Shakur at that time, who's my godfather. And one Sunday morning, Father Shakur, while there in the middle of the village, for the people of you who were here in Ibelin, held me in between his hands. I was a bit short, and asked me, he pointed toward this place and said, Elias, what is it that you see there? And I said, that's an easy question. That's the Mount of the Ogre. It was called the Mount of the Ogre because no one dared climb that mountain. There was no electricity at that time. And he said, no, not anymore. Next year, you'll be climbing that mountain to attend one of the most prestigious Catholic Israeli-Palestinian schools in Israel, Palestine. And I said to myself, keep dreaming, you're a dreamer. And the next year, I was climbing that mountain, and 8 years ago, I became the director of that once thought to be a dream that Father Shakur made a reality. Students come to my school from 25 different villages and cities from all over Israel. I have 1,200 students and 90 teachers. We're not selective when it has to do with students. The school is open to all, but we are highly selective when it has to do with teachers. Like 50% of the teachers here have their master degree, 10% of them with their third degree, and the rest with their first degree, because I want to give all children of God the best education possible. And what happened during these 3 months with the coronavirus is that I personally learned a lot, because we ranked among the best top schools in Israel who use distant learning, but I've learned a lot about how to make technology enhance and serve pedagogy. And it worked really, really fine. And concerning the beginning of next scholastic year, nothing is clear. Israel was the first to suffocate the virus, to control it with all the siege that we had. And we had lousy, sorry for the word, consequences when it has to do with the people's situation economically speaking. But now Israel ranks among the first countries with the coronavirus spreading out. They're losing control of it. What's happening next scholastic year is still vague. No one knows, but mostly it will be distant learning, or either we can come to school like hybrid car, sometimes physical attendance to school, otherwise it's going to be like distant learning. Nothing is clear, and that's why it's very important for us to prepare all the basic infrastructure for computerizing the school so that we can give the students and continue giving students the best education possible. Well, you have met two of my seniors. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the teachers coming here. Mar Elias is not just another school. There are hundreds of schools in Israel. So why do students come from 25 different villages and cities? Because of the human universal values that we plant in the hearts of the younger generation. We plant acceptance, love, peace, reconciliation, so that when this younger generation grow, these seeds can flourish and bring a better future. We teach them about peace, about loving each other, not by lecturing them, by giving them a living example of our daily life here. This is a private Catholic school, but 70% of my students are Muslims. And no one can tell who's Christian, who's Muslim. We have like Jewish teachers, Muslim, Druze, Christian teachers. You cannot tell who is who. We were all born on the image and likeness of God, and that's the beautiful mosaic about the Mar Elias High School. I'll stop here, then I'll answer questions.
Thank you, Elias. So yes, we're ready to answer questions. I've just read several questions written in the Q&A, but because of the time limits, I'm not sure which questions can we answer and which we cannot.
Emil, let's do this. Let's let our moderator worry about how to handle the questions and get the time in. And to do that, I want to thank the students and the staff who've been presenting so far. And you're not done yet. You get to help answer the questions. But to moderate that time, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. James Thomas, who's a member of the faculty of the Lutheran Theological Southern Seminary, and a member of the Board of Directors of Pilgrims of Ibilene. James, we're in your hands for some Q&A and continuing to hear from our panelists.
Thank you, Peter. I was privileged to visit Mar Elias in December 2020, so I've been there recently. Thank you also to Enil and Luma, Mesa, and Asil, and Elias. Thank you so much for your presentations today. We have about 6 questions, and a couple of them have been answered already, but I'll ask them again out of just fairness. The first question is, from how far away do students travel?
Well, when I said that students come from 25 different villages and cities, there are students who come from Jerusalem area and Beersheba, and they live here with local families. So they're not commuters, they go home once a month. So they live here with families. When talking about Asil, she drives like 40 minutes to come to school. Mesa, the teacher, Emil and Luma, they drive like for another 40, 45 minutes. We have 12 buses every morning commuting students to school. Some of these rides might take like an hour. And if they're getting stuck in the traffic, it would take like an hour and a half or 2 hours, but still, students insist that they want to come to Mar Elias.
Thank you. And the next question is, what impact does Mar Elias have on families, not just the students?
Anyone wants to answer, or am I to answer? I don't want to be selfish. Okay,
I'll answer if you don't mind, Lias. I think that we teach our students, being a Christian school, even though most of our students are not Christians, we do give out Christian morals throughout our teaching. And I think that that does affect the families. And I think that the values and morals our students take home do affect their families on the long term. I think that we deal with many conflicts that other countries, I want to say, don't deal with. We deal with identity crisis. I think that the way we deal with them at school affects how students deal with their life, and this is how it affects their families at home.
Thank you.
And I can add, sorry, I can add that also one thing. 56% of my students come from underprivileged families. The tuition fees in Mar Elias High School is $300 a year, and 56% of my students cannot afford this minor amount. So we help them together with Pilgrims with scholarships. Teachers have a cut of $20 a month for special funding for students to help them buy books, commute, join trips. And we also help poor families with supplies, with basic needs that they don't have. In addition, that families and parents are highly involved in students' lives at school. We have a parents committee who take part in certain major decisions in school life because it's their kids, our kids that we're talking about.
Okay, now the next question is a two-part question, and it's centered around peace and justice. Does the faculty teach peace in a specific way with a type of curriculum, or is this handled more informally? And the second part of the question is probably aimed at a student. What are you learning about peace and justice?
Okay, Maisa, can you go for the first part and talk about the forgiveness?
Sure. Regarding peace and justice, for the past 6 years, we've been teaching forgiveness education at Mar Elias High School. Even though we are really busy with all the material we have to finish for the matriculation exams and all the preparation for university, we still have time. Each homeroom teacher takes it upon himself also to talk about such values. We believe that Mar Elias High School does not only teach material they need to get accepted into university, it also teaches life lessons, and justice and forgiveness are all part of this. I believe that we prepare our students for what they will deal with after school. And of course, these values are very important.
Marisa, I'd like to add only, Elias, please. I'd like to add the forgiveness curriculum is set by Professor Robert Enright from the University of Wisconsin. I think it's worthwhile mentioning his name. Elias, would like to answer the second part?
The student is supposed to answer, not me. That was addressed to the student.
I volunteer.
That's you.
Okay, so in terms of peace and moral values, every morning at school, almost every morning, Mr. Elias stands in front of us, and any moral situation or value that he thinks is right and he thinks is important for us students to hear, in addition to civics lessons, where they teach us a lot about our situation in our country, Israel, which is not the most stable country for us as Palestinians, and also for anyone who lives there. So I hope I answered what I'm supposed to answer.
You did. Thank you. Oops. This is a question for students also. Beyond the classroom curriculum, what other activities can you engage in at Mar Elias? Like, for example, sports or music or something like that.
In terms of extracurriculars, we have many sports days in school. A few years ago, they took us to a forest and arranged a special sports day, which involved zip lining and many fun activities. We also have many competitions. I participated in a hackathon. It's a competition for programming and code writing, which my group won first place. Also, this year I participated in a physics competition where we built a safe which you're supposed to open by solving physics riddles. And a few years ago, we had a creative writing competition, an English creative writing competition, which was also fun. We also have many programs at school, exchange programs. I went to Germany with an exchange student. Also, as teacher Emil said, I went to Ireland with him, where I stayed with an Irish family there. We have many activities in school. Eva, would you like to add something?
Well, I'm gonna add something. For students, Asil and Eva, yes, you do have but it's bits and pieces, mostly here in the Maralais High School. And I'm saying that, unfortunately speaking, it's that the students come here mostly to also be prepared for higher academic studies. So they have math, chemistry, physics, computer science, ecology, music, theater, art is considered to be like leisure activities that most of the time we don't allow ourselves to have because, you know, in Israel there are 7 Israeli Jewish universities, and the employment rate for the Arab Israeli Palestinians is less than 2%. That's why I said at the beginning that 10% of my teachers have their PhD degree. So why have a PhD degree and come and teach in a high school, no matter how prestigious the school is, because of the barriers, of the bureaucracy that we have here in Israel. So I would love to give my students art, music, not just food for the soul, not just for the mind, but with overlapping the curriculum that we have here, it's a bit tight.
Thank you. I've got 3 more questions, and then I believe we will have to wrap this up. One questioner wants to know, can students come to the school from the West Bank?
No, they can't. I said the school is open to all. I as a person, as a citizen in the state of Israel, Palestine, I need to have a special permit to go to the West Bank and occupied territories. I can go freely to Jerusalem, but not to the West Bank because of the barriers, because of the checkpoints that we have there. So no, they cannot come, they cannot attend, they cannot visit, not just come to learn.
Thank you. And the next question is, how unique is Mar Elias in Israel? And comment on how students are top scorers on national tests.
We are ranked among the best 20 schools all over Israel. And that's what the minister says, not me. That's why all inspectors that belong to the ministry, supposedly they are to send their students to public governmental schools, but all of them ship their students to the Mar Elias High School, and they are in charge of the ministry's offices. So our students, though we are not selective, but we rank among the best 20 schools all over Israel.
Thank you. And the last question, unless another one pops up, because we still have a couple of minutes, how can we best help Mar Elias?
Well, first of all, I hope that after the coronavirus is gone, but it doesn't seem to be in the near future, the best thing is to come, visit, and live with your brothers and sisters here living in the Holy Land. I encourage all of you to come and visit. And if most of you are Christians, I think that your whole reading of the Bible would be completely different after coming to the Holy Land. Supposedly, Emil is working on a proposal that he will share with Pilgrims of Ibelin. We survive it here because of you American brothers and sisters. And for that, I'm highly thankful. We've learned from you what it means to give, to donate, to contribute. Here we work in order to survive mostly. That's why when we hear that there are brothers and sisters who care for us, who wants to support, who wants to help, we feel highly elated and enlightened and encouraged.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you who shared the questions and the answers on the panel today. That's the end of this portion of our program.
And I believe now we have the privilege of having a pre-recorded offering from Abuna himself. As many of you know, is the original architect of the vision and a spiritual force behind the early years of the school, and still a presence in his retirement. And Sarah Morgan, who leads our External Relations Committee for the Board of Directors. Sarah, I believe you're getting us going with Abuna's video.
Yes, it'll just be one moment while I pull it up here. Can you see my screen?
That's it.
All right.
Dear friends, good morning. It's a pleasure to be able to speak to you. I thank God for these ways of communication. We can see each other, we can hear each other, we can interchange with each other. And we longed for so long to be able to have an exchange with you, Pilgrim or Benin, because you are part of our life. You are part of those who nurture hope in our heart. I'm not exaggerating in any way. What you have been doing during the past 15, 16 years has helped us to maintain our conviction that peace and human dignity are the most important values to respect and to develop. At Mar Elias Education Institution, this is exactly what we do. It's one of the very rare schools in Israel where you can find together Christians and Muslims, Druze, and as you have Jews also living together, enjoying life and preparing a common future together. At Mar Elias, we are still working very diligently, on the one hand, to educate our children for peace and for dignity and for hope. On the other hand, developing the school. During the past 3 months, since the eruption of the coronavirus, the school has been closed, but the contact between teachers and students has never stopped. We started teaching online, and after 3 months, the school was reopened partially. The way our teachers organized the return of the children was noticed by the Ministry of Education and was given as the model of how to welcome the students back to all the schools in Israel. The Israeli Ministry of Education took an Arab school, Mar Elias Education Institution, as an example of how to welcome students. We're so proud because it was shown in every school in Israel. Now the school has been reopened. All the children are back to school. They give me hope back again. I was the only one remaining on campus for 3 months. I was waiting patiently for the return of the children, and now they are there in the school. On the other hand, we are trying through your care and your assistance to continue developing the school. I started building the school in 1981, and I had no plan to have such a large campus like the one we have today. All I wanted is to have a school for the children of Ebeline, this modest, small village, where I could welcome Muslims and Christians together to get to know each other from the very early days of their life. But God has been hiding for us a long plan, the Mar Elias Education Institutions. Since then, We are continually developing the school. We are trying to improve the qualities. We are trying to introduce new facilities. And through your assistance, I must say that through your assistance, you have done two things. You showed us the very beautiful face of America. I wish this face will return back after the chaotic situation today. You have been for us the beautiful America. And then your assistance, your material assistance, enabled us to be in development continually, to add one project after another. And today, we almost are at the end, but not yet. We thought that building the retaining wall that will protect us from falling stones from the mountains would be the last project. But as soon as we finished that, we felt the very urgent need to introduce acclimatization to the church, since in winter it's too cold and in summer it's unbearably hot. We need to introduce the acclimatization facilities. And also, after having opened the learning center, we are now about to begin the icon writing project. If it was not for the corona limitations, we would have started long ago. The return back of our children to school is not completely as it was before the coronavirus. Now we have to teach online. Students who have to be at home, remain at home by order of the government for their health problems. We need to be teaching online. And that requires from us much more effort to buy more laptops, more computers, to be able to communicate with our children while they are at home. My dear friends, one more project that emerged in front of us in the past few months. The old building, the first ever to be done, 1981, the middle school, needs to be restored from outside and from inside. We would never have been able to think about restoring that building without your help, your assistance. And we are very grateful to Pilgrims of Elim, who decided to send us whatever they can do for us to start the reparations. We bought the stones from the West Bank so that Palestinians can have work. It is nothing to solve the problem, but a drop on the ocean of their needs. And soon we will be able to start the renovation of this building where the middle school is now with 750 children. For that I thank you. I thank all those whom I know, those whom I don't know, those who contribute with the little or much that they could. You are really helping us, not only financially, but with your friendship and your prayer. May you be blessed and continue to be generous so that God shows us that we are all brothers and sisters, wherever we are, no matter who we are children of God. We still have lots to do, since what we have done, what we have built 30 years ago, now needs drastic repair. For example, the gymnasium, the sports hall, which was really a kind of struggle against the authorities to build. But it was built and it was our pride. Now it needs to be repaired, renewed, windows, other things to be introduced, painting, to that gymnasium to put it up to date today. To be short, now it's the time of registration. It's a bit too late. Normally it's February, March, but you know the coronavirus has upset all our plans. Now we are registering our new children and we have a problem. The annual problem during the registration. Too many children from many diverse villages want to register in the school. We love to have them all, but we are limited by our human means. We are limited with our facilities. We are struggling with many parents who insist to register their children in the school. They say, we are not looking only for science. We are looking for discipline, for values, and your school is teaching so many values. So many among our students, when they graduate, they become leaders in the community. I mentioned one of them, a young girl from the nearby village, Kaukab. She finished her psychometric exam with a result, astonishing result. The best among the students in Israel, 793 out of 800 scores. This is our pride. She was mentioned in all the newspapers. This is what Mar Elias is. And all that, it's because of you. Because of your faith in us. Because of your expectation. Because of your visits also. Your visits were so important. Our guest house has been a source of encouragement, a source of inspiration. We remember all those volunteers who came, Ted and Jane and others who were so important to give a wider image of humanity to our students. America is no more this human power, human superpower. It's not only the problems that are arising from Trump's policy. America is the volunteers who are peace-loving, who are very educated but so modest, and they give our children the example of good humanity. And we are proud of them. We are grateful to them. Now we are waiting for you to come. We need you to come. We want you to come. Because your coming will give our children a new dimension of humanity. We can never be grateful enough for your generosity, for your assistance. For once I can say, we need your assistance. I usually used to say when I met with you, I do not need your money. I need your friendship. Now I can say, I need your friendship to be translated also in financial help. Otherwise, the school will not be developing. And if it does not progress, it will regress. And we don't want it to regress. I thank you for listening. I thank you for caring for us. You should know that we are friends for every one of you. And we love you so dearly. And we implore God to bless you and to fill your life with peace and joy. Amen.
Well, Abuna's final words are a great segue into our final words of thanks for your willingness to join us today for this webinar, to learn more about the ongoing work of the Mar Elias Educational Institutions, in addition to people who joined to view the webinar, to Emil, to our students. So grateful that you took time. What time is it back in Ibilene right now?
7:03 now.
Okay, so it's later in the day on a Saturday. Thank you for your time. Thank you to James for moderating, for Sarah and Brenda for setting this up. Also, Abuna mentioned friendship and says he's waiting for you. It's our prayer that travel will be once again a part of all of our lives in the year 2021. I know that the hotels and the Ministry of Tourism have begun to set the stage for opening for travel to Israel again. That means that hopefully, prayerfully next year, Brenda Mijos, a member of our board, will be starting up once again our Living Stones pilgrimages to Israel. Be on the lookout for more information. Our own Monty Lunker, also a member of our board, is going to be leading a trip that focuses on the role of women in the Bible, both in the Bible and now in the Holy Lands. That's going to be in June of next year. Again, more information to come. And when Buna talks about friendships, and he didn't use the word, but I'll alliterate, and funds, I want you to know, and we'll be spreading the word a little bit wider, that members of our board have pooled some of our funds from our stimulus checks, and we have available $3,000 in a matching grant. So for those of you who are watching today, if you have funds that you would like to donate to Pilgrims of Ibilene, we will match the donations today and in the coming days up to a total of $3,000 in order to continue to further and bless the ministry of Marley's Educational Institution. So if you can make that gift, it will be matched up to a total of $3,000. Again, thank you to everyone, and going back to the teachers and students, you are in our prayers. We are blessed to be friends of yours, and we pray that our continued relationship will be one that indeed fosters justice and peace in your hearts and your lives and in ours as well. We already know that you give back to us by being willing to be in a partnership, and we're thankful for that. And to everyone, stay safe and healthy in this time of pandemic, and thank you again for being part of today. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.